Konnichiwa, hello and welcome. This is Roy at Ninjazilla90, and today I will be reviewing a super cool, really awesome blast from the past, and that is the NECA King Kong vs. Godzilla Godzilla 1962 figure. And I got some things to say about it. So, without further ado, let's get things started. And now, starting things off with the box, because we got to talk about really cool boxes on this channel when we have them before we get to the figure. Of course, as you can see, this box is basically the movie poster for the 1962 classic King Kong vs. Godzilla, sporting the 1962 King Kong, and of course the 1962 Godzilla, which also so-called happens to be Godzilla's first full-screen color movie. And I believe also King Kong's full-screen color movie as well. So I believe it was a first for both kaijus. And of course we have the human cast in the movie as well right there. And we have the English title for the movie way in the back. It says King Kong vs. Godzilla. And of course we have the Japanese title logo for the movie, King Kong vs. Godzilla. That's what I'm assuming it says because, yeah. Other than that, I'd be completely Japanese illiterate. But anyway, the top of the box, we have the same movie title logos as the front, the Japanese movie title logo and the one in English. We have the NECA logo in the top right hand corner. We have ages 14 and up, so this is for older collectors, not small children. And of course it says choking hazard. So, yeah, definitely that's a warning label letting you know that this is not food, it's not something to eat. Don't look at this figure and get hungry because, yeah, it's unfortunately not fried chicken. So don't even think about it. But anyway, turning to the right-hand side of the box, we see a cool picture of King Kong and Godzilla from the movie at the top, looking really nice. We have the Japanese movie title logos again, and the same movie title logos in English right there. And of course, it says 65th anniversary from 1954 to 2019, which is like 5.5-6 years ago. Oh my god, this figure is expired. Not really. The other side of the box is pretty much the same thing as the right side of the box. So, yeah. Bottom of the box, we just have the NECA logo. It says Real Toys, a serial number, and an uninteresting barcode, and like recycling symbols, and yeah, a keep away from children under 3 logo. The inside of the box, we have a really cool picture of the figure right there, and with a city scenery with Mount Fuji in the back, looking really cool. We have the inside of the box right there. We have Mount Fuji in the back, and yeah, the figure's already out of the box, so it's nothing much to look at there. The back of the box gets pretty interesting though. We have some really cool pictures of the figure demonstrating different poses, and we also have different sayings about the figure. It says Godzilla, will you win the battle of the century, and featuring heat ray blast, blah. I don't know why I read that heat ray breath, but it says heat ray blast. And here is the plot for the movie. You can pause that and read it if you want to, because if I read it to you, we are going to be here all day, because I am a slow reader. Well, not technically, but yeah. I'm just going to let you read that at your own pace. So anyway, that pretty much concludes it for the box. Now on to the figure. And now here we have the NECA King Kong versus Godzilla. Godzilla 1962 figure right here before us in all of his super cool, awesome King Goji atomic glory, as you can see. This is a really cool, highly detailed, well sculpted, really good articulated figure. It was a very, very consumer friendly budget price point back in the day, but unfortunately not anymore when it comes to aftermarket. And unfortunately, we all know the fact that NECA no longer currently holds the legal license to produce any more Godzilla merchandise. So that's unfortunate. We're not going to be getting any more Godzilla related stuff out of NECA, but we got like Hiya Toys and stuff now, so it's not really that big of a deal. But anyway, getting more of a look at the figure, we can see all the finer details in the figure. We can see he's more of kind of a lighter charcoal gray, very similar to the colorization of the 1954 suit. Need be it would have been in color, and we have these very realistic looking weathered bone white dorsal spines in the back, looking really nice, really cool. We can see he has these really fearsome, beady looking yellow eyes with these big black pupils. And he have his eyes and brows there, and his tiny little nose. And we can also see that he almost kind of looks like he has lips if you open his mouth from a certain angle, a little bit. So yeah. And if we do open his mouth and get a closer look, we can see there's really sharp bone white teeth that he has, looking really nice. And we can see the more of the inlinings of his mouth. That socket you're seeing in the back of his mouth, that dark spot, yeah, that's where his heat ray breath effect goes, and I will be getting into that later. This figure looks really cool. As far as articulation, the head can turn all the way around on a ball joint at the neck, and the head can also move independently from the neck. We can look up about that much, down about that much. We can look right, of course, and left, because I mean the head can turn all the way around. What the heck? The shoulder joints, I believe, can, yes, move a full 360, because the shoulders are on ball joints. But it does feel kind of stiff due to the sculpt. We can move them up about that much and back down about that much. We do have a swivel at the elbow as well on both hands. We have a really good hinge joint in that elbow as well, so we can bend it forward and back. Same is true with the other arm. We have a swivel hinge in the wrist in both hands, so we can turn them a full 360 like so, and we can move them forward and back as well, or in this case up and down like you are witnessing. Same is true with the other hand, like that. And the fingers are also on a hinge joint, so we can open and close those hands like so. And we do have a ball joint at the waist, so we do kind of sort of have a slight ab crunch, not very much, but we can rotate him around a full 360 if we want to, but I'm just not going to do that with mine because, yeah, the waist joint is really tight and I do not want to risk breaking this, so yeah, I'm just not going to turn it a full 360 for you guys today. Yeah, I know some of you guys were hoping I would do that, but yeah, I am not going to risk breaking this thing. But anyway, moving right along to the 1962 Godzilla's big, thick tree trunk legs here. And yes, I do call them tree trunk legs for a reason because, well, maybe on this figure, maybe not on the SH Monster Arts version of this figure, which I unfortunately do not have. But I would definitely buy them if they do reissue it. If Hiya Toys doesn't beat them to the punch with that. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, this figure does have some big, thick tree trunk thighs. And I say tree trunk thighs for a reason, because when you feel the scales on his body, especially with the shape of the legs, I don't know, for some reason it just reminds me of like tree bark and the tree trunks, I guess. I don't know why that comes to mind, but anyway, that's just a thing. The hips are on ball joints, so we can rotate them about that much that way, so we can kind of sort of make him do the splits if we rotate his legs all the way up and then rotate them back. We can't necessarily split out too much because of the sculpt, and if we try to force it, we are going to snap those ball joints in the hips, and we really, for the love of God and everything that's holy, do not want to do that, because yeah, NECA Godzilla figures are like super rare by this point, because they, yeah, can no longer be legally produced unless like you go on like AliExpress or Temu and buy a bunch of bootlegs, but then they're not going to be nearly as good as the authentic ones. But anyway, the knees are also on a hinge joint, so we can bend those knees forward and back like so. We do have some range of movement now, those knees, as you can see, but not a whole lot. But yeah, it is pretty loose. And in the feet are on a swivel joint. That's about it, so we can only swivel those feet a full 360. And also, this is Godzilla's first appearance in a full screen color movie, and also the first time Godzilla only had 3 toes. So anyway, and speaking of the toe hand claws and the toe claws, they are of a darker weathered bone white colorization, as you can see on the mani pedis there, looking really nice and really sharp as well. Very beautiful, if you ask me. And now getting more in depth with the backside of the figure again, especially with his tail here, because, you know, fully segmented tails are like one of the best, most satisfying parts on Godzilla figures. Seriously. Who's not satisfied with a fully segmented tail that actually holds up and stays together? Because I know I am. Seriously. But anyway, getting a good look at that very beautiful, satisfying, fully segmented tail of his. It is comprised of a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 articulation segments. So we can move the tail this far this way. We can move the tail that far opposite way. We can put it in a really nice S-curve there, making it look nice and sleek. And we can put it in an S-curve the opposite way if we want to. We can put it up about that much, and we could put it down flat if we want to. And we could also pretend to be King Kong and swing him all the way around town. And just get him real dizzy. But I'm not about to do that, because if I start swinging this figure like King Kong does him in the movie, yeah, he's probably gonna go flying, and that's not gonna end up so well. But anyway, moving right along to the accessory that comes with this figure, which is his translucent white heat ray breath effect part. So what you do is you open up his mouth like so, and you make sure you have the rounded part up and the flat part down, and you just stick it right on in there, and there you have him firing off his heat ray breath effect like so, like he's getting ready to burn Tokyo down to the ground, and burn King Kong's face off, I guess. But anyway, yeah, this is a really good figure, as you can see, and that's going to pretty much wrap things up. So now it is time to get into my final verdict. And now for my final verdict on the NECA King Kong vs. Godzilla 1962 figure here. If I have to give this figure a score based on detail, articulation, and playability, I have to give him a drum roll, please. A well-deserved, knocked out of the park, 100%ed home run score of 5 out of 5 stars. Why? Detail is really good. It's top-notch. It's high quality for a budget-friendly, consumer-friendly figure at the time. So there is nothing to complain about here. Articulation is good. This was only a $20 to $25 figure, so you couldn't expect it to have all the bells and whistles that an SH Monster Arts figure would have at the time, or the same bells and whistles that a Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic figure would have nowadays. So I really can't take points off for that. Although it does feel a bit stiff in some areas, that's just mainly due to the sculpt and just the bulkiness of certain areas on this figure. But I'm not complaining. I'm not taking points off for that, because this figure is overall solid when it comes to both detail and articulation. Playability-wise, this figure stays together really well. The joint tolerance is really good. I don't have to worry about this figure popping apart or falling to pieces if I, as far as look at him too hard, more or less touching the thing. So that's a definite plus. So this was a well worth it, highly recommended figure from back in the day, from when from when NECA still legally had the license to produce Godzilla merchandise. But however, that is no longer the case, unfortunately. But basically, Hiya Toys has filled in that gap to basically, scratch that itch, although their figures are a bit higher in price than what NECA figures were. You are getting more out of the Hiya Toys brand anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. And as always, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you guys all so much for watching. I appreciate that greatly. That really helps out this channel. And if you haven't already, if you want to help out this channel even more, definitely like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And as always, to wrap things up, take care, stay safe, God bless, and peace out.